And here we have on our podcast show is Edwin from ASRock. Edwin has just arrived at COMPUTEX, and we got some news and good topics to talk about. All right. Okay. Stephen?
Well, first of all, because we have a wide audience, like we're trying to reach 80% of the population out there that may not know what the heck that is. So what is ASRock? Or better yet, give us the proper pronunciation of the name, because...
Oh, the correct name.
The correct name. And also tell us what you guys do. Like, how long have you been around, and what's the story? What's the ASRock story? Where did you come from? How did that happen?
Okay, ASRock.
So the short story for ASRock is that in the beginning, ASRock is sort of a side brand from ASRock. I'm sorry, ASUS.
ASUS,
okay.
Yeah. So what ASUS did is they sort of don't want they want to release some cheapo motherboard for the third.
Yeah, like a third party.
That's sort of the low end market, but they just don't want to damage their brand. So they create another brand, which is us. I don't know if I can say this, but they create us to to focus on those countries,
low budget market.
But in the end, ASUS and Pegatron, they separated.
Yes.
Then because once we separate it, we are not controlled by ASUS anymore.
All right.
Okay.
So we sort of want to create our own motherboards, our own high-end, high-tier, high-end flagship motherboard for the market, because we don't want to be an underdog anymore.
Yeah.
You want to fight.
Yeah, we want to fight. So we want to produce something that can compete with all those big brothers.
Right. First off, is it ASRock? ASRock? How do you say the actual pronunciation, the name of the brand?
How would you like us to say
How would you say it?
I will say ASRock.
ASRock.
Yeah.
It is ASRock, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, so tell us more about you. So you've joined the company when, and how long have you been in the company?
So I joined this company right after graduation in 2015.
Right.
Okay.
And I joined, but I'm not a product manager at first. I was a marketing team. Yeah.
Right,
So I handle the medias and all the events, just like what you guys saw at our booth.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing back in 2015 and 16. But 2 years after that, because me personally, I'm always a tech geek. So
Nice.
I always like to fondle
like me.
computer hardwares, everything. So I just kind of got bored. I want to be involved with products more.
Okay.
So like
that's
fresh ideas going in and things like that. Okay.
Yeah. That's when I sort of just want to, become a product manager.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And luckily I did.
So now that we know that you're a geek, how did your PC DIY adventure start? What was the first system that told you that it had to be taken apart? Like, what was that?
Oh, that's a fun story.
Tell us more.
My first PC was a Socket 478.
I remember. Yes.
Socket 478.
So that's when Intel still has a pin on the CPU.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So not like now.
Pentium, right?
Yeah. The Pentium. I think I
Pentium 4.
I had a Celeron because I'm not that,
Extra rich.
I'm not that rich, so I only got a Celeron. But
Celeron, yeah.
that's when I started to taking things apart. Yeah, so the motherboard, I cannot remember. It's just some cheapo board.
Yeah. That's how we all started.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's when I started, and then I become more enthusiastic around PC DIY, and then I got a AMD platform. The first.
Is it Athlon or something like that?
Yeah, the Athlon 5000, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Athlon,
so that's the first one. I think AMD start marketing about their DRAM sort of control unit in the CPU.
Oh, right.
That's one. And then I just move on to more fancy stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So this was when you were using the pencil.
Sorry?
The pencil.
The pencil
mod.
to.
No.
Pencil mods?
Oh, that was way early, I think.
Is it a little bit earlier than
Yeah.
that?
So
Okay.
he's on the AMD Phenom. Phenom?
Phenom, yeah.
Phenom as well.
Bulldozer was after.
Yeah.
Bulldozer
All right,
wasn't
so-
much of a bulldozer.
So
but
DIY
other
interest, and from there you've kind of moved on to do like you got ideas about motherboards, right? What kind of features you can add on there and things like that. So that helps you with your team, your product manager. You've got, of course, your team and stuff like that. So tell us a little bit more of the culture, like you said. Now you're a product manager. Under your team, you have a group of people, all kind of what age and what they do and how they get the ideas across?
So for I don't know about other companies, but for our company, we always start from a idea.
Right, an idea.
And then we discuss with our R&D teams.
Right.
And any engineers in our company, and see how we can, something like how do we achieve this?
Yeah.
And then how big is the market? Because we have to make money.
Right.
So we have to know how hard is it to make this happen.
Right.
And then we propose it to our management team. I have this idea. It's cost maybe something, but it takes some effort, and we think the market will like this. What do you think?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And usually, because we are such a young team.
Right.
Yeah.
So young team, being young, you have those fresh ideas.
With
It's
the same
easier to-
language.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you have that kind of team to work together. The ideas then gets across to the management. Like I say, if you're okays with it, it gets implemented. And I think, tell us more about that.
Yeah. So that's sorry. Yeah. So that's kind of the idea, how the idea sort of become reality in our company. So because our management team usually let us play for a lot. So
That's rare for Taiwanese companies.
yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah. Something you see on motherboard that you just don't see on other brands.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how because this, our culture. Yeah. It's a very sort of lively thing. It's funny story that our boss actually requires that our team member, that new recruit team member cannot be too old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a fact.
good.
That's a true
good.
story.
Okay.
Wow.
So if you're above certain age, you are sort of automatically, crossed out from
I'm guessing it's-
from the resume.
Interesting.
I'm guessing it's different levels of employment. Like if you have a senior management role, of course, you need to get that kind of
Experience and everything,
right?
yeah.
But if you're joining the team as a fresh grad, or if you have other experiences from another company, you're joining ASRock, you need to be young, you have fresh ideas, and be compatible with your culture, right? And like I said, your team, all of them are under what age?
Sub 30.
Sub 30.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's really good with all the fresh ideas and things like that. Yeah. So, for example, I've been looking at ASRock motherboards, and they have like streaming motherboards. Gaming motherboards is a thing, but they have streaming motherboards. They have boards which you think, wow. I mean, how would have thought that idea, and that they did it, and not many other manufacturers have.
For the folks out there, streaming. We're talking about Twitch. We're talking about YouTube live streaming. We're talking about Facebook. We're talking about Instagram Live. What are the key elements that make like a streaming motherboard versus another motherboard? Is it something about it that is different, distinctly so, that makes it a better product over something that you can just get off the shelf? Like, is there something? Like, what is that secret sauce?
So actually, at first, we don't know much about this market.
Okay.
So that's when the whole story become interesting, because the first actually we got is a feedback from our sales.
Okay.
Because our sales is the front line to sort of get in touch with our customers.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And they feedback us that streaming has become very, very popular.
Yes.
So then we got the idea. So why don't we make a motherboard that is perfect for streamers?
Okay.
Yeah. So what does a streamer want? Yeah. What age are those streamers?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
demographics.
That's the question we run through our mindset.
Yeah.
So like for example, streamers, they have a lot of devices.
Oh yeah.
A lot of USB devices.
Yes, definitely.
You have the camera, the mic, the headsets.
Wait, more than one USB camera. Two usually.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe three.
And you have the control pad. You have multiple keyboards.
Right.
Yeah. So you have to plug in a lot of things
Yes.
onto your motherboard. That does not count. You have to charge your phone or something.
Of course, your tablet and something
Yeah.
else, right? Everything's plugged in.
Yeah. So
Another thing also I noticed when I plug a lot of USB devices, there are on maybe only one or two channels. If you have two cameras on the same channel, it will crash your system. So you need to have separate USB channels. Is that right?
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
People.
That's something. And that's something that normal people don't know. They think that there's something wrong with the computer if they plug in more than one. There's more than one USB. Obviously, you could plug in more than one thing. So when things start crashing, you blame the manufacturer.
Yeah. So that's why we have to design a lot of USB on the motherboard. But just like you said, what if it crashed?
Yeah.
So we have to redesign sort of the basic stuff, like how do we deliver the 5-volt power to the USB? You need a separate channel.
Right, yes. right.
Otherwise, all the power will just draw the voltage down, and you have crashes.
Immediately.
So that's the kind of sort of the things that just keep on running through our rates.
You get feedback and you act on it rather
Yeah.
than just get feedback and then
Just go F yourself. No,
Yeah.
that's not how we do it. No.
There you go. So recently we heard about the news of another company with BIOS issues, right? With BIOS issues with certain motherboards. And I think we asked the question on the floor. I said, is there an issue with the BIOS on the AMD boards? And you told me no, right? Because you were actually guys fixed on the BIOS. You're on there, you're up to date, and works. And that's something. What about the warranties and things like that? How would you reassure your customers about the issues with BIOSes if it ever happens?
First thing I have to say is that we never reject a RMA requirement from a user that is related to BIOS.
That's good.
We never reject even single one.
Yeah.
We only reject if it's
Physically
damaged.
Yeah, physically damaged, right?
So if you just have too much fun on overclocking, honestly, we do not know. So how are we going to reject that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes. So
But you work with the AMD and Intel to make sure the BIOSes work, right? With of course your memory configurations and all that kind of stuff. So you work with all the big manufacturers to make sure that all the BIOS works. So again, like you said, Edwin, if you have an issue with the BIOS, reassure your customers is that hey, we can warranty it because it's as long as it's not physically damaged, that's good to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, as the voice of reason for you guys out there, the audience, what was the big deal?
The what?
Why was this BIOS issue such a huge polarizing issue for the industry, based on the response of certain people? Why? Like what happens here? Because we got people like, what's a BIOS? Is that just the thing that boots up? Like, what's going on? Is it dangerous?
Well, BIOS is something that is. I think that the BIOS is short term for basic I/O or something.
Right, basic input output
output
system.
Yeah.
So what it is basically it's almost like a heartbeat of the motherboard, right? Because if first thing you press the power button, it goes into BIOS. Make sure all the systems are functioning properly, all the functions, all the USBs are on, the power is going to the chip, power is going to the graphics card board and stuff like that, right? But however, if you're an overclocker, those power settings, like voltages, increases because you set that into plus 10 or whatever, that'll give you overclocking on your CPU or overclocking on your graphics card and so on, and your memory, etc. So with these crazy modders and overclockers, they tend to increase those voltages, right?
Yeah.
And again, with certain brands, they say we don't guarantee the performance, it could crash. Certain brands then said, we won't warranty it. That happens, right? And then they don't, warranty it and things like that. And then that's where people start going nuts because, hey, you're advertising and marketing this product as a overclocking board, but then you can't do it, right? But with certain brands like that, and ASRock says, okay, well, no problem. As long as it's not physically damaged, we're okay with warranty it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So dealing with ASRock is very simple. If you don't damage the board, if you didn't spill soda on it, they can smell it and lick it to find out, then you're fine. But if anything to do with the BIOS, meaning the software, the firmware on the motherboard, and you're using it within the marketing specifications of the board, it's the overclocking board, I should be able to push my voltages XYZ it shouldn't explode.
I mean, go ahead.
Go ahead. See, go ahead, right? That's very important, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you're standing behind your product, the fact that you said right there is like, hey, if it's BIOS related, we got you. It's not the trust me, bro. We got you, right?
That's good. That's
Okay.
good. All right. Those fresh ideas coming from youngsters and from the people that join your team gets implemented onto boards and things like that. We saw the Sonic the Hedgehog board. That's right. And that's the ASRock thing. We saw live gamer extreming boards. That's great. Of course, ASRock was well known with gaming motherboards and things like that. Now they have a refresh board. Tell us a little bit more about the refresh board that you have.
So we have 3 Fending refresh motherboards that actually display on our booth.
Right.
So the key elements that on the refresh motherboards are VRMs, so the power phases, because I'm not sure if you guys know that Intel will actually do not have a new chipset this year.
Yeah, that's right.
For the
They
first
kept
time,
the
right?
first. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
So
they kept the same one.
it's a long time till the next platform coming out. But that's for the platform. But for the CPU, I'm sure they will bring something out. Between this period.
Yeah.
So new CPU, better performance. Actually, sometimes translate to more power hungry.
Right. You need more power to drive the chip. So
Yeah.
the right now the current chip is 13th gen. So they probably release a 14th gen. That's going to be more power hungry. Boards need to be able to handle it. So if you have the same board chipset, then you need to increase the VRM power.
Yeah. So
stuff
that's
like
what
phases.
that's what actually happened on our Fending Gaming Refresh motherboards. So even on the entry level, the Z790 Lightning Wi-Fi, that one actually has 16 power phases, so more than enough.
So increased from the
14, I
so
believe,
increased from 14 into
to
16.
yeah. And the Riptide also 14 to 16. But this one uses SPS, so better MOSFET. And
More stable, clean power. Is that
clean
It
power,
works less hard. It's lower heat, right?
lower heat. And speaking of low heat, all these 3 motherboards having featuring 8 layers PCB.
Okay.
So
So-
better signal integrity.
Better signal integrity, better overclocking, and less heat.
Would you say that because it has more PCB layers, and I know that people love to build their PCs, but sometimes they're just a little butterfingers. Do you think this is a little bit more durable for the build?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Because I know some people have actually gotten their washers stuck somewhere and all of a sudden shorts, right? No more PCB.
All right. So with those new features for the new chipset, the new processor from Intel upcoming, I guess you have a board with us today, right? Is that some of the refresh? Just,
So this
bring
one
us
is
up.
also a refresh motherboard, which is our Z790
Right.
Nova Wi-Fi 7.
Pretty.
Okay.
Yeah. So Nova is our new series which will be replacing our what's that called? PG Velocita series. So
the Velociter series.
yeah,
Okay.
the Velocita series. This one will be replaced by the Nova.
Called the Nova, right? This is the called the Nova series. Okay.
Yeah. Then just like I mentioned in the model name, the Nova Nova Wi-Fi 7. So this motherboard
Wi-Fi
has
7.
Wi-Fi 7 on board.
Tell us a little bit more because it's new to me, right? I know Wi-Fi 6 and 6E. Wi-Fi 7.
Wi-Fi 7 is actually very, very, very new.
Yeah.
So I believe that some high-end routers are already having this spec on the market. So now, but for the motherboard side, it's still very, very. I mean, this one I think is one of the latest motherboard that support Wi-Fi 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So more speed.
More speed, better connection, everything. Yeah.
Great,
Just
great.
new is better.
But you also have some extra features, including a this heatsink thing.
So
right? Show us a little bit about that.
yeah, and heatsink. This one is so what on our competitor motherboard the quick release for the M.2 SSD.
Release.
Yeah, quick. We call it toolless, but I think it's actually quick release. But it's more transparent. So the quick release mechanism on the motherboard actually very, very. I think it's very clever because on our competitor, the quick release is only for the SSDs, but on our motherboard, it's SSD plus the heatsinks.
Okay, so knowing that heat sinks require uniform pressure, have you guys solved the issue to maintain that uniform pressure across it? Because I know that it's very important that you get the screws just right. In this case, it's a completely toolless system.
Yeah.
Can we mess with it?
What do you mean by it?
Is it we clamp
something
down
will go
Is
wrong?
something can something go wrong with the heat distribution?
Nah, it's been tested for
In other words, is it
many times.
thermally across?
So you can see
You just latch that off.
it just it's
What's
very
that?
easy. So you see the button here. You just slide it and just put it out.
There's no screwing at all.
No screw.
No screwing around here.
No screwing around.
Oh, all right.
Actually, no screw. So there's a thermal pad over here.
Okay.
And we calculated the distance between this thermal pad and the SSD itself.
Okay.
So
there is design, into it.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of thought put into this design. It's not just we'll do a quick release hatch and that's it.
And that's what I worry about is that something that's convenient like this, sometimes people just kind of take it for granted.
Yeah.
You know?
So because they put a lot of thought into it, and they probably done like loads of prototypes and testing things like that. I'm sure now it's ready to go.
Yeah.
All right.
So the release is actually very straightforward, and for the reinstall it, it's
go ahead.
very easy. Just you see the two tabs over here, slide it in, press down. That's it.
Job done.
That's
Super
it.
easy.
That's it.
Wow.
No screwdriver is required.
So this one is one of your latest ones. Is the refresh. It's called Nova.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi 7. Quick release on the heatsink for the SSD. You got your power on buttons and things like that. Diagnostic LEDs. This is a nice board, right?
It makes me wonder because we've all installed heat sinks. We've all installed AIOs.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a trend coming to that space for the CPU socket?
That.
The quick release.
for the heatsink.
This one,
Yeah, this type. Of configuration. Because like you said, you've tested it, so it's uniform. Therefore, we can extrapolate the fact that if we used it on a heatsink, using exactly the same engineering principles that you put through, could it be used for that purpose?
If that's the case, I guess maybe some name brands, the cooler brands, they have to talk to us because this is actually, we are getting patents on this.
That's what I was getting at. This seems like it's a very novel way of doing something. And
You have a patent on this?
this is
We're
great.
working on it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Good.
That's good. That's good. All right. Well, that's also interesting information there. So, Stephen, tell us, ask Edwin there if you have any interesting topics that you mentioned about the driving kind of.
Driving kind of thing. So it sounds like you're a petrol head, which is fantastic. And is that more of your modding adventure, or is it more of do you race? Or is it just something to look good, or do you like? And I love this new segment of the industry that I've discovered based on some of the videos that I've been consuming, but the detailing. Rabbit hole.
Actually,
Who are you?
What do you like about cars?
I'm the kind of guy that obsessed with the design, the
design, the look.
I would say something like how the brake works,
Okay.
how engine works,
Okay.
how something works. Because I'm tech geek.
Oh,
I'm
right,
a
right,
geek.
right, right. So
I like to know how stuff works.
Yes.
And I want to lay my hands on it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
you're a hands-on guy that likes to play around.
Yeah.
If you had, for example, a onboard computer in the car, you want to chip it, right? You want to
Something
improve
like
the
that. Yeah,
performance.
yeah.
You want like better brakes because the different type of brakes. There's brake discs with different holes in them, holes and stripes. I have a clue what they are.
So a performance geek.
I won't say performance because I just couldn't care less about how much power my engine produces. I just care about, is this an interesting design engine?
Right.
Something like that.
Okay.
I admire the
Engineering.
like
engineering,
attention to
like
detail.
the Mazda triple engine thingy. What do they call
the
it?
rotary engine.
The rotary engine.
Yeah.
That's a good design, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, something I just, I just like the design, the engineering around it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you're a Red Suns fan from Initial D, you would be all for the rotary.
Rotary engine. About EV space, because Steven's a very EV.
I'm practical.
He's a very EV guy. Taiwan, do they have a lot of EVs in Taiwan?
A lot.
A lot.
I mean, for the past 2 or 3 years, the Teslas and all the EV cars are just booming, exploding.
Yeah.
Like you can see a lot of EV cars on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
Right.
seen less in the cores. It seems like they're outside the city. Is that kind of a fair assessment? Because we've only seen like pockets of them.
Yeah.
Personally, but that could be a very bad sample size. Just
mean,
us.
I don't really know. Where those EV owners live. But,
Yeah.
I would say that it's because Taiwan is actually a very perfect place for EV cars because Taiwan is so small.
Flat and
Yeah,
short distances.
Short distance.
Right.
I mean, it's not like America or all those, maybe Australia. You have to drive maybe 300, 500 kilometers to one place. I mean,
And your top speed is 130.
yeah, I mean, so I think Taiwan is actually a very good place for EV cars. And all the charging ports, charging stations, something.
Right.
It's just everywhere.
Are they everywhere? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Interesting.
It's also interesting too that they just finished doing a number of studies at UBC and University of Victoria is that they recognized after measuring particulate matter in the air in city centers is that they figured out that the amount of particulate matter can actually affect the brain function of the people on the streets. They actually make them dumber. And they proved it.
Oh, you mean normal gasoline cars?
No more the fumes and everything can make you dumber, and they actually showed it in an MRI.
Okay.
So it is ongoing research, and I don't know if they've completed it, but having people healthier is actually a good thing, especially for a country like Taiwan, which has a socialized medical system. Everyone's taken care of, but everyone actually has to have care to make sure the system doesn't collapse.
Yeah,
Right.
of course. Yeah.
All right, that's great. So I think that's about time. Enough time we have for the podcast show. So thank you, Edwin, for joining us
That's
on
awesome.
our podcast show, and hope we have a successful COMPUTEX.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time. Stephen,
Bye.
bye bye.